I wonder if you could help me, please. I'm looking for a young woman called Elizabeth.
When you run a cafe, you get used to customers coming and going without any explanation. It's part of running a business. But this time, something was different.
The idea of My Blueberry Nights came from a short film I made years ago. It was called In the Mood for Love 201. It's in the Mood for Love, and there's one chapter that happened in a diner in Hong Kong, which is contemporary. But we haven't finished that one yet, because the second chapters, which is In the Mood for Love Now, we have a lot of fun doing that. And at the end, we decide to have one story instead of 3 chapters. And then the footage that we have shot, I create a short film out of it. I still think this idea is nice. So for My Blueberry Nights, I think it will be interesting if the characters of Nora can be like extensions of the characters of Maggie. And to put the film, instead of Hong Kong in Chinese, I put it in a different country with a different language.
I got a call that he wanted to meet with me, and I didn't know who he was, and I'd never seen his films. So I watched In the Mood for Love, and I thought it was beautiful and amazing, so I had coffee with him. And I thought maybe he wanted some music from me, but he said, you know, he looked at me through his dark glasses, he said, "So, do you want to act?" And I was like, I don't know if I can, you know? I just sort of leapt blindly into it based on seeing his other movies and trusting that I liked what he did. And I just trusted him as a director.
What really impressed me about Nora is she's a very spontaneous person. Somehow her voice is very cinematic in a way that you can imagine there's a girl wandering around the city. And I think I can create a story around this person.
My character, throughout the course of the movie, I mean, you see her sort of transform from being very self-conscious and not very confident and confused and not really knowing what her place is to being very confident and sort of figuring it all out. And I mean, my experience in this film was that exactly. The first scene you see me in the film is my first scene, first time acting with Jude Law, having to read lines. And when I watch it, I'm like, oh my God. Listen, have you seen him or not?
5'11", dark brown hair, pork chops. I have actually. He came in here for dinner last night. He ordered 2 pork chops, 1 with mashed potato and 1 with string beans.
I guess he was hungry.
No, he didn't eat both of them. Our portions are too big for a person to eat 2. No, 1 was for him and 1 was for his girlfriend.
People went to a diner at night alone. I think either they're hungry, or they are lonely, or they have something they want to sort it out. They want some privacy. The relationship between a diner owners or a bartender and the customers, in a way, is very private.
Hello.
Hey.
I need someone to talk to.
The ideas of this short film is from In the Mood for Love. There's certain linkage over there. It's like, to me, Jude Law or these diners is like the trees. And this is a place for Nora to put all her secrets, because the thing is, we never show the family or the background or any aspect of Elizabeth. Only we saw her existence in these diners, because she don't want to tell people about her problem. I think she has family, and I don't think she want to tell her family about this, because she's very stubborn. So this is the only place, because this is a stranger's. For her, it's like a tree, you know, and there's a hole, so she just put this key and all her secrets there.
If someone comes in here looking for me, give him these keys.
What do I tell him?
Tell him he's an asshole!
The cafe's called Ключ, which means key in Russian. Makes him sound like a kind of key holder. I suppose it's more of a sort of idea that the cafe is a centre for people to drop off past relationships or leave their doors open for past relationships to continue.
My imaginations of the character of Nora. The first draft of the script is called Aspects of Elizabeth. This girl, she's trying to be different persons because she's tired or she thinks she is not happy with being Elizabeth. She wants to be someone else. But in a way, when you look at the film, even though she worked in different places with different names, trying to be someone different, but at the end, what she learned really doesn't matter because she's okay with Elizabeth. She understands more about herself.
She's afraid to confront her boyfriend who's cheating on her, and she ends up going on this road trip instead to avoid it. Part of her going on this journey is trying to sort of get away from him and just trying to forget him and find, something else. She meets all these people and she learns about life by watching these people. Here's your check.
Just 8? I could have sworn I had at least 9.
Arnie's wife has left him. They aren't divorced, they're separated, but she's wild. She wants more in life. She doesn't want to just be a cop's wife in a small town.
I played a character called Sue Lin. She's I guess she's like an anti-Southern belle. She's sort of trashy-mouthed and tough, and she's still living in the same town as her husband, and he's still crazily in love with her, and all she wants is for him to stop loving her.
Have you got a moment?
I got nothing to say to you.
Nora's character, Elizabeth, comes across Arnie in 2 different places. She gets a job in this restaurant, or cafe, or luncheonette thing. And that's where Arnie usually has his lunch. So she sees this man in his uniform with his daily persona, and then she sees behind the uniform, she sees behind the man. And it's a relationship that reflects upon her, what she's going through.
Dear Jeremy, I thought about what Arnie said about the sobriety chips. How to focus your attention on something else in order to cure your addiction. If I was an addict, I chose blueberry pie as my sobriety chip.
Sometimes the best part to be in a journey is you can let go of yourself. Instead of being cautious or embrace yourself with all your prejudice, because you won't get anything through a journey. The journey is you open yourself to certain things, which is unknown.
How'd you wind up in this hellhole?
The bus just dropped me off here.
Where'd you come from?
New York.
You came all the way here from New York on a bus? Sounds awful.
Actually, I was on quite a few of them.
She's a young woman who's a poker player, and her father was a poker player. She also has a difficult relationship with going into the family business. She's sort of this hardened character who is trying to teach Nora's character to be a little more steely against the world.
Trust everyone, but always cut the cards. Best thing my father ever taught me. You know what that means? It means never trust anybody.
If you're so good at reading people,
Then why'd I lose?
yeah.
Because you can't always win. You can beat players, but you can't beat luck. Sometimes your rhythm's off. You read the person right, but still do the wrong thing.
Because you trust him.
Because you can't even trust yourself.
I think what Leslie show is something that she learned from the father, and you can imagine the father through Leslie, because I'm sure this father will always tell, well, you have to read people, and to give her all these lessons. But at the end, it's very hard to read people, and sometimes you are being trapped by this knowledge, because you have all this prejudice and preoccupations.
So where are we going?
Vegas.
said she knew some people in Vegas who could stake her, get her started again. But she didn't seem to be in a hurry to get there.
I don't think Nora is inexperienced or dumb. She just wants to let go, to see, well, I want to take this risk.
Where are you going? I want that car. Beth, not at that price. We can get it for $3 grand by the time we get to my car.
I don't think he's gonna come down. And I think that's the car I want.
Have you learned nothing from your time with me? You have to stop taking people at their word.
Well, maybe you should start.
You're hopeless. You're hopeless too.
One of the reasons I want to shoot this film across the country is it gives me very good reasons to like take this experience to go into different corners of America to see all these places. We take lots of pictures and we build the story during this trip. When I went to Memphis, I just really fascinated by two landmark buildings. One is the diner, and the other one is the bar. They are just opposite to each other with these trolleys. It is a classic locations. So we decided to make the film in Memphis and to create, instead of one job for Nora, 2 jobs.
Working 2 jobs is exhausting, but at least it keeps me busy. And most importantly, it keeps my mind away from him.
We didn't build a set. We shot on location. When we're shooting in that bar has a huge red neon sign. So somehow it created light source at the tone of that chapters. And also in New York, there's a big neon sign outside of these diners, which is in green color. So green become like a very strong light source for these chapters. And we just enhance it instead of like eliminate. Because if you are going to eliminate all these elements, it's going to be a huge work. So instead of like eliminate, we entertain it and enhance it.
Angle that's complicated. And so I was really glad that he ended up using those songs in the actual film and the soundtrack because, you know, I associate those songs now with the shoot so much, and so does everybody who worked on it.
The work of a director is just more like a composer, and actors is your instruments. So sometimes it's good to know about the rhythm. And I always ask them to suggest music. Like Jude, he's a marathon runner, so I ask him, well, if we have to choose some music for this character, when he runs, what kind of music will you choose? And also for Nora, I said, well, you will be on the trip all the time. Are there any music that you would suggest? No.
It was enjoyable watching a director, first of all, being that free with his creative process, but also wonderful watching him discover what it was he ultimately wanted to make. I think sometimes people arrive to make a film and they know they're almost mirroring, just recreating what they've already got in their head, and that it really felt that we were creating it as it happened, and that felt spontaneous and organic and truly creative, you know. So that when we achieved it, you really felt, bam, we got that.
The ideas that he had were just so original and uncliched. It was surprising to take the character in the directions that we went. It wasn't what I had expected at all.
You know, he's very unconventional the way he works. He doesn't really have a script at the point most people do. So we finally got a storyline a few weeks before shooting, and then a script like a week before shooting. And the script changed so much, and the story changed a lot in the course of shooting.
None of them get the complete script, because for Nora, she only have the sense of the trip. When we're shooting New York chapters, we give her the New York chapters, and for the Memphis chapter, we give her the Memphis chapters.
You don't really talk about the scene before you shoot it. you just kind of shoot it, and then he thinks, okay, this is what I liked, this is what I don't like. Let's change the camera angle completely, you know. I like the way you said that, but think this way about where you are in the character's life, you know. He definitely gives all the actors a lot of personal direction.
There were constantly new ideas and constantly new mutations of the script and the ideas and the feelings, and that's the most exciting environment to be in, you know, a whole team of incredibly talented, passionate people who are sort of keeping the ball rolling and adding and changing and you know, making it the best version of what it can be.
He's very open to interpretation and ideas. You know, the more comfortable I got with Kar-wai and the character and the story, the more open I felt. So he often would come and ask us, all the actors, he would ask opinions sometimes, you know, you think this works or you think it should be more like that? And by the end, you know, we were all changing our dialogue up more than in the beginning because we were nervous in the beginning, but so it was really fun. He's a director who knows exactly what he wants, yet it's a free-for-all.
When you look at his frame, you look at Kar-wai's framing, he goes through these layers, these textures, not only the people, but the objects have this depth to them.
There's a lot of simplicity with this movie, with the way he makes movies, I think. Even if it's a complicated shot or something, it's all to make a simple moment beautiful and to put it on the screen. And so, like the kiss scene between me and Jude, I mean, kisses can be very simple and it's a very small moment, but he made so much out of that moment. I mean, all the angles we did on it, it's still gonna look simple, but he just turns these simple moments into these big moments.